What a very interesting season for Vanguard players. Now, drama aside, I feel as though enough time has passed for me to confidently bring you my Marvel Rivals Season 2.0 Vanguard tier list, or my MRS 2.0 VTL. Yeah, we're not calling it that. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. It's free. We like free. Also, comment your thoughts down below. Roast me, I dare you. My list is right, yours is wrong. I'm just kidding. As always, this is just my opinion. You know, it's not to be taken as gospel. I don't know everything. I'm not the end all be all as far as tier lists go. This is just going to be based on my experience, what's worked for me, what hasn't, what I've noticed, things like that. So without further ado, enjoy the video. Now, to start things off, it only feels right to go with Captain America, and I have a lot to say about him.
Now, last list we had him S tier, and while he technically got stronger due to being a team-up anchor with Bucky, Season 2.0, he's going to drop to A tier. Now, why is that? Now, I have two main reasons. One being that he doesn't have the damage, he never really has, outside of, I think, the Thor team-up, but he doesn't have the damage to really secure elims right now. And then secondly, there are a lot of anti-dive counters to being in this very role. He still has insane mobility, insane survivability, still has a great ult. And don't worry, Cap mains, eventually our teammates will learn what our ult does. He still is even a great backline bully, but considering there's more options and with the support damage buffs, there's more options to fend you off and to, in some cases, actually eliminate you. You kind of want a Vanguard who is, you know, still dive but can deal a little bit more damage, which brings me to our next Vanguard that we're going to be talking about, Venom. Now, Venom, I have S tier, and let me explain why. Now, Venom has a lot of the same qualities as Cap, but where Cap lacks damage for having really great mobility, Venom has better damage for a little less mobility. With that being said, the same issues apply for him as well as Cap. Anti-dive can really mess Venom up, and he's less forgiving for making a mistake. Like, yes, you can use that symbiote resistance to get a crap ton of health, but if you miss your web, you're screwed. Now, yeah, you could wall climb and run around the walls and whatnot, but that's not truly, I don't really consider that the best escape unless you're reaching a place where no one else can get to. But with the amount of mobility in this game, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to be chased down. So really, his web is the only escape that I find feasible to consider in terms of his mobility. Now, regardless, he still has great mobility, like I said, with the web and the ability to climb walls. It still is really nice to have. His damage is amazing, and I think that it's really the headshot, how consistently you are able to actually pull that off, when you can pull it off. And then on top of that, self-sustain, because that symbiote resistance, the ability to gain back a crap ton of health, it's really strong, and I think that people are he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit because not a lot of people play Venom. Now, I feel like I said in the past video to start picking him up, and like this is kind of what I'm talking about, because I think Cap is going to start getting more nerfs, but I think Venom is still going to be under the radar. So like, I try to warn y'all about Cap. I told y'all he was crazy. Look what happened. I'm trying to warn you guys on Venom. Venom's a sleeper pick. He's on the up and up. So definitely invest some time into Venom and just kind of see how it plays out for you. I definitely do not recommend you solo tank with him, however, just because he doesn't handle that constant pressure enough or pretty well. Like, if he's the only Vanguard taking all the attention, taking the damage, he's not the best handling in that situation. However, if you have DPS and support and whatnot that can kind of pick up and cover the slack of being the only Vanguard, like, he can still pull things off in the back lines. But regardless, I think he's a really good tool to have in your Vanguard arsenal. However, you want to know who does handle that solo pressure pretty well? Magneto. Now, if you're looking for a solo Vanguard, someone to play this by yourself, you know, you don't have any help, whatever the case may be, Magneto is hands down the best one to pick right now. Magneto is still able to frontline and help counter dive at the same time. His survivability is still pretty good with his double shield and bubble combination. Even his pushback is viable. His damage is consistent, to say the least, and I say consistent because it's not unexpected. Like, there's no, I don't think you'll catch people off guard with his damage, if that makes any sense. It's easy to like heal out of or escape or time or things like that. So it's consistent. His ultimate, you know, it's still good for defensive ults. I find it really kind of only useful for defensive ults. Like, yeah, if Iron Man ults or if Star-Lord ults, you can pop it then, but you're using it super defensively, which I kind of think is a bad thing for him. Now, I'm not saying you should use it any other way. I'm saying that it being one-dimensional is a bad thing for his character. With all that being said, I have Magneto A tier, and really it's just because right now we are in a dive meta. Everything is fast-paced. Everything feels very proactive. It feels like you need to go get it. You need to go dive. You need to go make the play happen. Whereas Magneto likes to slow things down, keep things at his pace. He's pretty reactive. Even something like his ultimate, you know, you don't really pop it on your own. You pop it when, like I said, a support ults or a certain DPS ults. It's just super reactive. So again, by no means do I think he's bad. He's pretty balanced. The Potenks, they're typically always going to be balanced, but I just find that there are better options to work with what is strong right now. Let's say you don't even want to do meta. What is meta? There are other Vanguards that are going to be on this list that can help better than I think a Magneto can. So for now, we have him A tier. Speaking of lacking ults, we come to Penny Parker. Now, recently, she got a lot of buffs. She got a great deal of buffs that I think definitely helped out her character a lot. Now, one thing she has going for her is that she is really good against dive. Some may argue the strongest Vanguard currently to play into dive, or against dive rather. I also think that she is a pretty good second Vanguard to have on your team, assuming you have one main Vanguard already. Now, you'd think in this dive meta, everybody would be trying to play her. You think that all these characters these people who want to play dive characters would be voting to ban her. You'd think she'd be S tier. They're not, and she's not. Why is that? Why aren't you guys playing Penny Parker? The only thing that I could come to is that people just don't find her fun. They don't find the play style of sitting around her nest, laying mines, just waiting around. They don't find that fun. Regardless, I have been bouncing back and forth on this. Like, my gut is telling me A and my mind is telling me B because of the community perception. I cannot sit here in good faith and put her in B, though, because I truly believe that she is an A tier Vanguard right now. No one's giving her the time of day. I mean, like, when you have Spider-Man, Venom, Captain America, when you have all these dive characters being played, why would you not want Penny as a second Vanguard? At least to keep the backline safe. Like, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me, but she's definitely A tier in my book, so we're gonna leave her there. My gut is also telling me that this next Vanguard we're about to talk about is extremely overrated, and yes, I am talking about Groot. Now, yes, everyone is convinced he is just the best Vanguard since season 1. I am not convinced. I think instead of choosing to counter Groot, we rather ban him, which makes him look better than he actually is. Like, remember, we're in a dive meta, right? We're talking high mobility, things like that. And just like Penny isn't getting played to counter that, suddenly Groot is just the strongest because he can wall off LOS when we are playing characters who have the movement to jump over walls and fly over walls. Like, none of that really makes any sense to me, I'm going to be honest. Now, don't get me wrong, sure, his walls are kind of strong, but I think they're easy to break. We're just not playing the characters right now who could easily break them. I think his ult is strong, sure, but it's not like Luna or Cloak and Dagger or Rocket could counter it with their own. Like, we've been doing this with support ults forever, so now all of a sudden that a Vanguard is suddenly the problem and everyone's freaking out and not knowing how to take it, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to put my own personal bias against it, whatever. He's S tier, whatever, I'll give it to you guys, but I genuinely think he's A, maybe B, because Groot himself is not hard to deal with. It's just his walls. If you can take care of his walls, he loses over half his value in that alone. But whatever. I will, for now, keep him S tier because he is strong. Whatever, but we're moving on. The next Vanguard we're going to talk about, however, is far from S tier. He is so far that, and he's so far in fact that he's actually the lowest listed currently. And yeah, we're talking about Doctor Strange. It really is wild to me to think about Doctor Strange because he was once considered the strongest Vanguard for a while. However, for some reason, he's received some sort of nerf in every single patch, it seems, and I genuinely do not understand why. Now, while they did just recently buff his like ultimate generation, which feels pretty good, I was getting it pretty frequently, and it was, nice to be able to use that. Everything else still sucks. Not only that, but at this point in the game, it's been around for so long that people know how to react to his ultimate. People know how to counter it. People know how to interact with it and just flat out avoid it. If I'm not getting choked out by Emma or pushed by Sue, they're just running away. But I think really the final nail in the coffin was that damage nerf, because it adds essentially a second, or not a second, but you need another hit in order to actually kill squishies now. And it's like they nerfed him to the point where it's just not worth it. It's not worth playing him over Magneto, who can do the same exact thing but for less. So at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I have him C tier. He's not like unplayable. He just requires a lot more work than any other Vanguard. So not quite D tier, but we definitely do have him C tier. How they treat the Hulk pisses me off. And I wish I could say that he's banned because he's strong. And some people do. I'm not. He's banned solely because he keeps getting the most broken team up abilities. Hulk is definitely mid in my opinion, and I personally blame his lackluster damage. Like, I don't remember the base hit damage off the top of my head. However, if you told me he healed enemies by hitting them, I'd believe you. Now, it's almost like his primary fire damage equals everyone else's regular melee damage. Nonetheless, I digress. His damage sucks, but everything else is okay. His ultimate's pretty good, he has a good survivability, good movement, yada yada yada. He is a dive, an anti-dive option, just with you have the ability to peel for your backline. Let's say you're going against dive, and then he himself has the ability to dive the backline. I do think his whole stun clap combo, in and out of ult, that's pretty strong for what it's worth. I genuinely just think his damage is too low. I don't know, it doesn't feel authentic. I don't know, it just feels really weird to me. Regardless, I think that he is currently like the worst pick for a dive Vanguard in this dive meta, but regardless, I have him B tier. Like I said, I don't think he's the worst. I definitely don't think he's the best. And I think that the only reason he's good is because of his team up. Like, yes, a good Hulk, a cracked Hulk could make an impact. But at the same time, for what it's worth, I think that you get the same effect easier with Captain America or even Venom. Second to last, and I was very on the fence about this one. Like, I really had to sit and think hard. But we have Thor. Now, let me preference this by saying that season 0 into season 1, like, Thor was my most played Vanguard. I played him, all the way up to Diamond, and like I spent a good amount of time on Thor. So like I have a good sense of how he plays. I have a good sense of how to use him. Like, I like Thor, but I just didn't think at the time of my last tier list that he was that great compared to everybody else. Regardless, after my last tier list, however, like I said, there were plenty of comments of people saying I was sleeping on them and I ranked them too low and da 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 da. So, like, I sat on it and I played them and I really gave him the time of day. And I think his buffs were really good. I don't know. I underrated them. He was definitely underrated. At least this version of him is stronger than what I previously felt playing him. While he did get buffed, a lot of his counters did as well. However, he still feels pretty good. He feels pretty good. This is because of two things. One, his damage. He is literally a big, beefy DPS. His damage output is insane. And then two, his ability to generate overhealth. Being able to spam the hammer move and continuously get that overhealth again and like I think it's like 2 seconds. Like, that is very strong. And it's a movement, like and you can displace other people. Like, that is pretty strong. If they nerf anything to his kit, I see it being that, unfortunately. I do think he's underrated. However, he does have a lot of weaknesses and pretty strong ones at that too. Emma, the Thing, Penny, they see him and they think, ooh, field day. Why? Because they can shut him down. They can shut him down and really make you pick a better option. Certain DPS supports think this as well, because he really doesn't have any ability to defend himself from CC. I also think that his Rune Awakening move where he throws lightning and his ultimate needs some work, especially that Rune Awakening ability. I notice that I'm dying the most when I'm actually in that form. Why? Well, because I'm using it wrong, obviously. No, I'm joking. That might play a part into it, but I think it's because I'm locked into it. You can't cancel it. So when the enemy sees you pop this, well, they know that you're going to be locked into that for the duration of it. They all focus you. You can't run. You can't do anything, and you just die. All you can do is fight back, and it's, may the best one survive. Lastly, with his ultimate, I just think that it's just too easy to avoid. Like all the movement abilities in the game, Cloak being able to fade everybody out, like the endless. I don't know, Loki with his runes and Namor with his bubble and the shields, and like there's just so many ways to avoid it. It takes so long to actually activate. I don't know. I just think that the ultimate is not the best, and I think, like I said, the Rune Awakening ability thing, you need to be able to cancel it. You really do. So with all that being said, I don't think he's like C or D. I don't think he's that bad. I have him B, and I'm gonna put him above Hulk because in terms of playing Hulk or Thor, definitely would rather go Thor. And lastly, we have the newest addition to the Vanguard role, Emma Frost. No need to hype it up. Emma is S tier, hands down, no debate about it. Emma Frost is extremely dangerous, extremely versatile, arguably the best Vanguard right now in the game. She is a must-have against a dive, seeing as how she deletes even the Hulk with her grab, slam, kick combo. Her ultimate is insane, has insane range, and you can even stop people from using their own. Her survivability is great against everything with her shield and her diamond form, damage mitigation. I legitimately can't say anything bad about her. Manage your cooldowns, work on your primary fire tracking, because even I need to work on that. Even in the diamond form, being able to track where the enemy's going, so you can grab them and kick them and things like that. Work on your tracking, and she'll do you justice. And there you guys have it, my season 2.0 Vanguard tier list. Let me know how I did down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. I appreciate your time and your support, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys. We are going to look through this really quick and see if I need to move anyone's order here. Honestly, no. I'm fine with this order. I'm fine with this order because, like I said, Groot counters Thing pretty well. Venom, that's a fine spot. These guys here, that's good. Yeah. Penny counters all. Yep. Honestly, what they did to Strange, man, that really is just, that breaks my heart. But still, that's crazy. Anyway, in the meantime, again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.